Ahara me hearties, shiver the main brace, avast your brass monkeys, splice the timbers, and that's quite enough of that. Yeah, I don't think I'm fooling anyone. I'm an outlaw, not a pirate. But welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring, where I have found myself as the current proprietor of the gorgeous dockside tavern, the Salt and Kraken. Yes, indeed, this, brave adventurers, is your latest stop on the Steamforged Games Local Legends pub crawl. Myself and a number of other content creators have each been charged with serving you a pint as you check out these wonderful venues, where adventure waits around every corner. If you landlubbers need a place to sing your shanties and glug your grog, step inside. Grab a seat by the crackling fire, listen to the tales of Captain Bloodbeard McGraw, and perhaps sample some of the chef's specialities. I promise they're not poisoned. Now, if you are new to the Epic Encounters Local Legends range of RPG kits from Steamforged Games, well, maybe you've been lost at sea or something. I have already done a video on the incredibly useful Tavern Kit, and I will link to that review in the video description below. The Tavern Kit is a complete product in its own right, usable without any additional purchases. It's packed with pubs, NPCs, story hooks, minigames, and even very detailed rules for running a barroom brawl. However, each tavern in the kit also has its own local legend, a fantastic foe for you to battle, and each of those local legends comes in its own encounter box, a standalone product that you can use with or without the Tavern Kit, and which includes the miniatures, maps and rules necessary for a cinematic confrontation. For the Salt and Kraken, we have a fantastically thematic encounter with a ghost pirate, a LeChuck-alike that would have even Guybrush Threepwood quaking in his boots. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a bit more about how the Tavern Kit and the encounter packs work together. Needless to say, the information that follows is more for dungeon masters than heroes, so if you are a hero, maybe head over to the bar, get something to eat. I promise it's not poisoned. The Tavern Kit includes a tavern book containing 10 different pubs. If we skip to the section on the Salt and Kraken, we get a full-page description of the pub, a feat of engineering built from the upturned remnants of a treasure galleon. Then there is a page of key exterior and interior descriptors that you can use to quickly and easily set the scene for your adventure. Although do note, you also get an exterior and interior map of the pub to help your players get a more immediate understanding of their surroundings. The next page lists all the specialities at the pub, food and drink your heroes may, or more wisely may not, decide to purchase. I have it on good authority, the not quite fish clams are not quite poisonous to humans. This page also lists some exciting plot hooks that you can use as launching points for new quests. Perhaps your heroes will be press-ganged by a local captain, or they will hear about a supply ship being destroyed. Perhaps that mysterious empty galleon that has drifted into port has some riches to discover, or maybe that island on the horizon, that island that absolutely wasn't there when you arrived this morning, is worth exploring. This naturally leads into the section regarding the Salt and Kraken's local legend, the Dread Pirate Bloodbeard. This is just a little bit of information about the legend of Bloodbeard with some useful notes for the DM regarding what is going on. But how exactly are you going to incorporate this encounter into your adventure? Easy. All good local legends thrive on the local gossip. The last 2 pages in the Salt and Kraken section of the Tavern book shows a list of NPCs and a game favoured by the patrons of the pub. If you look up these NPCs in the NPC handbook, you will learn all about this colourful cast of characters, and you will also discover that each of them knows a snippet of information regarding the local legend. Or at least, they think they know a snippet of information. It's up to the heroes to figure out which clues are accurate. Additionally, if you glance in the Encounters book from the Tavern Kit, you will find some useful tips on pacing the mystery and drip-feeding information to keep heroes on the hook and interested in what is going to happen next. Eventually, the heroes will come face to face with the local legend, and that's when it's time to grab your encounter box. The Ghost Pirate mini encounter is a lovely little box of goodies, or I guess baddies. The window display showcases the miniatures, 3 identical sea spirits and Captain Bloodbeard himself. And if we look at the back of the box, we can see it contains 4 finely detailed plastic miniatures, an illustrated battle map, and a full encounter booklet. The miniatures are very good. This is the Sea Spirit, an undead wraith. The unearthly, in more ways than one, amalgam of sea, seaweed, the wrecked remnants of sailing ships, and a wailing ghost dragging itself up from Davy Jones' locker. They are quite small, but they are suitably creepy. But the real big fish in this encounter is Bloodbeard himself. This is a superb miniature. It has an excellent sense of motion, with the floating tatters of his coat billowing around him as he hovers above the remains of a sunken vessel and a grasping tentacle. And just look at the detailing on the back of that coat. I think that's absolutely excellent. You could probably do some really fancy painting with that if you wanted to, but I think I will be doing a very straightforward ghostly green or blue. Overall, the miniatures are really nice, and they are suitably spooky. These sea spirits are on 25mm bases, while Bloodbeard is on a 50mm base, giving him a bit more of an intimidating presence on the battlefield. Speaking of battlefields, the encounter comes with a paper map. This is a good quality thick paper with a matte finish, which makes it easier to see what's going on under the glare of lights. And it's not a bad size at approximately 550mm by 400mm. It depicts Bloodbeard's ghostly galleon as it drifts out of a rolling mist and docks outside the Salt and Kraken. I do have complaints though. It's still a paper matte, and I've never been a fan of paper mattes, and the creases are really heavy, so it takes some effort to flatten the matte for use. If you have a sheet of perspex you can lay over the top, that would be ideal, as it will flatten and protect the matte while letting you add extra information with dry white pens. But my biggest complaint is it's single-sided. I think it would have been really good to have a battle map of the interior of the Salt and Kraken, or even all the docks and alleys outside of it, so you could perhaps lure Bloodbeard off his ship, or encounter him at the tavern and then chase him back to the docks. I think an alternative environment would have just added that little bit more variety and utility to the set. The last component in the box is the encounter booklet. It weighs in at 12 pages, and it's quite similar to the larger booklets that we have seen in other Epic Encounters packs. It starts with an introduction and some notes on how to scale difficulty checks and damage for parties of different levels. According to this, you can use the encounter for low level heroes up to level 5, heroes at that sweet 5 to 10 level phase, and then heroes that are already above level 10. However, more on that in a moment. On the next 2 pages we have the full story behind Bloodbeard. What does he want, and how can he be stopped? There is also information on how to draw out Bloodbeard, and an interesting nemesis system. The more the heroes learn about Bloodbeard, the more enraged and hateful he becomes. He will begin to obsess about the heroes, and when they finally encounter him, he will unleash his full fury. Next up is a breakdown of the battle map, which depicts Bloodbeard ambushing the heroes on the docks. There are some special notes here for the Dungeon Master. For example, the ghostly galleon is directly linked to Bloodbeard, and when he takes damage, parts of the ship become temporarily intangible, and those unlucky enough to be on board may plummet into the sea. This is followed by a combat plan that suggests 3 phases the fight may go through to create memorable moments for your players. Finally, we have our stats and rules for Bloodbeard and his motley crew. Unfortunately, there is a considerable oversight here. These pages are supposed to include scaling rules so you can run the encounter at any of the 3 levels mentioned earlier. The rules say as much on the first page of the book, but no scaling rules have been included. That's a real shame, because it means that in a lot of cases, Dungeon Masters aren't going to be able to use this encounter without first working out what adjustments they need to make to ensure the fight is challenging yet well balanced. I would have liked to have seen 3 profiles for Bloodbeard in addition to some stat and rule modifications for the Sea Spirits, just as Steamforged Games have done for other Epic Encounter products. In addition to that pretty major gripe, I did notice a few typos in the booklet, but nothing that horrific. Still, it's all evidence that perhaps one more pass in editing would have been worthwhile before signing off the final proof. Maybe someone needs to walk the plank. All that said, I do still think it's a good little encounter pack with really fun miniatures and lots of ideas and information. It's enough to run the Ghost Pirate as a short encounter in any D&D campaign, but combine it with the Tavern Kit and I think you could easily spin this out into a fully developed subplot that could keep your heroes in adventures, not to mention grog, for multiple play sessions. I am a huge fan of horror in general, and I always appreciate having more ways to add ghouls, ghosts, demons and other things that go bump in the night to my games. The Pirate Ghost mini encounter certainly does that. But that about does it for the Salt and Kraken. I hope you've enjoyed your visit. Drink up, because the pub crawl is far from over. Next up, you need to head over to the Nodding Dragon, which is being run by Austin Weitzel. I sure hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, blame the booze. You will find a link in the video description below so you can stagger along your merry way. Do be careful as you leave though, these steps get a bit slippery when the mist rolls in, and some of the boards on the dock are loose. Not to mention, a few more people than normal have been going missing on dark nights like these, when the stars aren't shining to guide all good sailors to their beds. But you'll be fine, big strong adventurers like you. By the way, did you try the not quite fish clams? Excellent. Please make a constitution saving throw on your way out. And remember, the Local Legends Tavern Kit and Local Legends Encounters packs are available now. Check your local stockist or order direct from Steamforged Games. And if you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.